Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. Good teachers use repetition, and they use different ways to teach the same point. They come at it from different angles. And do you know who the greatest teacher of all time was? Jesus. Jesus was an amazing teacher, unequaled by any other teacher before or after. And one of the clearest teachings that Jesus gives his disciples, and through them to us in the Bible, is that time is moving forward. Time doesn't move back. There's no reincarnation. There's no do-overs in life. Time moves forward, and it's moving forward to a great climax, the climax of history, and that is when Jesus Christ returns in judgment. That is a clear teaching of the Bible. To deny that there will be a day of judgment, to deny that Jesus will return and sit on the seat of judgment and judge the living and the dead, is to deny the Bible, to deny the teachings of the Bible. So my question is, what is the judgment going to be based upon? I know when I was a student in school, I wanted to know what is going to be on the test. If someone would tell me the question on the test, I would be super happy. I would even, well, I won't say I would cheat, but if someone stole the test and found out the questions, I would be glad to know that person. So what's going to be on the test? And the amazing thing is that Jesus wants us to know what is on the test so that we will get a 100% on the test. So he teaches numerous times this truth that he is returning and he is going to sit in the judgment seat. Now we're looking through the eyes of Peter, through the book of Matthew, and he tells 4 parables towards the end of the book of Matthew, and he teaches all about this great truth that he's returning and he's going to bring judgment. Because you see, he wants us to know, he wants us to be clear about it. And Satan always attacks the doctrine of the return of Jesus Christ. Oh, it's not real. Hell is not real. Heaven is not real. Just do good. He always attacks that because this is what is going to happen. And he doesn't want you to be ready. So Jesus wants us to pass the test. He wants us to know what is on the test. It's not like becoming a Christian is just repeating a prayer at some point in your life, and then when you die, you go to heaven. It's not like that. Repeating the prayer is like a door that opens into a whole new life. And when I read Facebook many times, it looks like everyone who dies goes to heaven. That's a false doctrine. Not everyone goes to heaven. So today, Friday, and next week, 3 lessons next week, we're going to look at these doctrines so we will be without excuse. So Jesus tells in the scripture for today, Jesus tells a parable, which is a story to illustrate a point. And he makes it a simple story. A child could understand the story. So there's a master who has a household, like a mansion, a lot of servants, a lot of things. He's going away on a trip. Doesn't say when he's coming back. No indication when he's coming back. But he leaves one of his servants in charge of the household. His job is to take care of the household, feed the other servants, take care of the household until the master comes back. Now, there are two possibilities, and he gives both possibilities. And in Matthew chapter 24, verse 45 through 46, Jesus says this: "Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns." So he says, who then? So it could be anybody. He's making the servant an illustration for us. You could be that servant. I could be that servant. I pray that you are that faithful servant. I pray that I am that faithful servant. And what does he expect from the servant when he comes back? That they will be faithful in what they've been given to do, and they'd be wise in what they've been given to do. And they're in charge of the master's household. So it's not their household. They're in charge. They're what's known as a steward. It's like when you have money, you put it in the bank. It's your money, but the bank is holding your money. The bank gets in a lot of trouble if they treat it like it's their money. They have to give it to you when you want it back. That's what Jesus does. He gives us things to do in life, to build his kingdom, to spread his kingdom, to represent him, to reflect his presence in the world. He gives us those responsibilities. And all he's looking for is for us to be faithful in doing what he's called us to do. It's not a competition between me and you, who does more, who does less. It's, am I faithful in what God has given me? What has God given me? Time, financial resources, opportunities, a life. He's given me a life. What am I going to do with my life? What are you going to do with your life, with your time, with your resources? What are you going to do? One day, there'll be an accounting, and the master will return and see, what have you done with what I gave you? That's what's on the test. And he says, the master puts them in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time. It will be good. You better believe it will be good. It will be wonderful. Wouldn't you love it when Jesus comes back and says, well done, good and faithful servant. I've given you that to do. I've gave you your life. You used your life for me. You used your time for me. You used your energy. You used your resources for me. Satan wants to think all of those things are ours. I'm just going to do me. It's time for me to do me. It's my money. It's my time. It's my life. And I'll do with it what I want. Well, if that's going to be your answer, that's what you're going to have to say when Jesus returns and you're standing before him on the judgment day. I did it for me. I did it my way, period. Not going to be a good answer. So he says, it will be good for the servant to be so doing. When he returns, he will return. And then Jesus gave the other option. And we choose which option it's going to be. He says, but suppose that servant is wicked. Says to himself, my master is staying away a long time. You see, that's Satan coming in. Jesus is not going to return. The master's gone. Maybe he died on the journey. Maybe he's lost. He's not coming back for a long, long time. And because of that, He doesn't do what the master asks him to do. Said he takes advantage and he begins to beat his fellow servants. And he starts carrying on a wild life, drinking and eating everything for himself. And then Jesus said, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and an hour he is not aware of. You see, we're not told the day of the test. The test will come. And may God find us doing what he called us to do. And I'm speaking to Christians today, people in church today. May God find you doing what he's called you to do, reaching other people. May he find me doing that, spending myself in doing that, not in other things. And then the story ends. The example Jesus gives ends. He says, he will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. Hypocrites, why? Because you say you're one thing, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. When you see weeping and gnashing of teeth in the Bible, it's a symbol of hell. Of hell. Not a good place to be. So, my friends, this may sound rough, what I've said today. It may sound hard. But Jesus taught this repeatedly. That he's going away. He's given us a trust. He's given us a job to do. And he's going to come back when we least expect it. And it's going to be Judgment Day. And the question on the test is, were you faithful with what I've given you to do? What will your answer be? You and I decide that today going forward. God bless you, and I'll see you on Monday.